And it was a great experience, but after 4 years, we felt as writers it would be better to push ourselves out of the nest.
What we found is a lot of times after writers have done a number of years on a show, you need fresh voices. It helps reinvent a show.
The network bosses weren't too worried about saying goodbye to the writers, but the Golden Girls were about to lose one of their own, who might not be so easy to replace.
If I'm gonna spend the night tossing and turning, at least I want to wake up smelling like aftershave.
As the Golden Girls returned for their 5th season, a summer cliffhanger needed to be resolved. The original writing staff was gone. A new creative team had to keep the ladies laughing.
My little girl is gonna have a baby by artificial insemination. For God's sake, somebody say something. Ugh.
And the Sperm Bank Show was the first episode of our group, and it was really a very, very funny show.
In 1990, Mark Sotkin took over as the head writer on The Golden Girls. Sotkin knew he had some big shoes to fill, but the veteran writer was more than ready, having worked on sitcoms like Laverne and Shirley and It's a Living.
If my daughter wants to get herself artificially inseminated, I guess that's not so bad.
And I think it helped win the ladies' confidence. Because they, I'm sure, had doubts when a new writing staff was brought in. They had a hit show, they knew they had a quality show, and who were these people who were coming in and what was it going to be like?
Oh, well, I'm sure he must have been, terribly ill at ease, to take over such a terrific piece of work.
They were incredibly respectful of the words on the page. They wanted to make that work. They had confidence in what we were doing.
It's like a piece of machinery, that is so well, I don't want to say well-oiled, you know what I mean, but something that worked so well that there was very little that you could do to mess it up.
By the start of the 5th season, the Golden Girls made more than 100 episodes. Like other long-running TV shows, the Golden Girls faced the constant challenge of coming up with fresh ideas. That season, Rose got a boyfriend.
Where's she going?
Men were never in short supply on the Golden Girls, but they rarely stayed for long. This time, Miles Weber, played by Harold Gould, became a recurring character.
And I always remember Harold, he's such a lovely actor. He had this beautiful white mustache. So whenever we had to kiss, I would go in before the scene, put lipstick on, and then powder it down to the point of no return so I wouldn't get that beautiful white mustache in trouble.
Betty is so easy in her talent and in her work. We would stand outside the door before we'd come in, and just waiting for our cue. And we're making cutting remarks about our clothes or about what they're doing in the situation or the political situation, what's going on, and, making cracks and smart jokes and kind of, relaxing and enjoying it. She's very good at that.
With Miles, the writers explored an ageless theme, dating.
There weren't permanent husbands, so that there's still that kind of dangling dating insecurity or an anxiety. Who's he going to be like? What's this one like? Are you attractive enough? That still is pertinent, for a younger group as well.
Half the fun is in getting there. And boy, did your father and I have fun trying for you.
The Golden Girls weathered the turnover in the writing staff, but the cast and crew had to face another major change. The man who was named the 5th Golden Girl decided to move on.
I got all ladies together and told them, and that was hard. It was really hard, and they were very generous. They didn't want to make it difficult for me.
Just very sad, very, very sad.
Oh, Lord. I don't remember how he broke the news. I just remember the night he left. We gave him a party over in another building, and I didn't go. I couldn't stand it. I was crying so hard that night, I could barely see how to get how to get my car out of the lot.
I'd done 110 episodes, and it was great. I would happily have done another 100, but the time came along, and I thought, no, this is the right time to go, and I went, but it wasn't an easy decision.
Harry was capable of doing a lot of things well, and so he got a chance to go out and stretch.
He got a chance to direct film. And that wonderful direction job that he did on The Butcher's Wife, just wonderful. Beautifully directed film.
When Terry Hughes left, I think it may have been a bigger bump in the road than even the change in writing staffs in terms of the cast's perception, because they worked so closely with Terry. They were very, very concerned when Terry left in terms of how this was going to affect the show.
Before the season was over, the ladies tested out a few directors.
We went through a couple of different directors come in, and it was a very hard spot to fill. To have somebody come in and take over his work, very difficult.
We never found another Terry.
The Golden Girls ended their 5th season in the top 10, but Hughes took some of the magic with him when he left. The show was about to face its biggest crisis yet. The stars' contracts were up, and one of the girls wanted out.
Fine, Ma, I'll scratch the Ben Gay off the grocery list.
I don't want to hear any more about this, and you and I can argue till the cows come home.
We're home.
By the time the Golden Girls started its 6th season, the ladies proved that senior citizens only got better with age.
We weren't ever out of the top 10 in the first maybe 5 years of the show. That is something that you just makes your heart beat. You never take it for granted. It makes your heart beat faster. You kept thinking, oh, don't pop the balloon. It's just too good. So we kept everything crossed.
To stay on top, the writers needed more stories. So, another girl got a guy.
There's a joke among writers that there really are only 7 situation comedy stories. You know, the rent is due, and Lucy's painted her hair purple, and the boss is coming to dinner.
There seems to be this attraction developing, an attraction I've been trying to deny. Blanche, what are you doing?
So how do we tell these 7 stories differently?
Like the fatal blossom of the graceful Jimson weed, I entice with my fragrance but can provide no succor.
I'm talking about Stanley, you idiot.
The writers came up with a new storyline for Dorothy's ex-husband, Stan. Actor Herb Edelman played the part of the philandering former spouse. In season 6, Stan suddenly started feeling romantic.
Did you do what I think you did tonight?
I don't know what on earth you're... Yes. He was, I can't use the word here, there's a word I can't use on television, but they had been married for something like 30 some odd years, and he left her for an airline stewardess. I remember delicious moments like when he proposed to me again after all those years, and he put the engagement ring in a baked potato.
The engagement ended when Stan asked for a prenuptial agreement. Dorothy and Stan's love affair wasn't the only romance to fade.
Bea wanted off the show. She wasn't happy. She didn't want to keep doing it.
I thought, we've hit it. We've really done it. And why hang on and do, and just to keep it running and to go over the same stuff again. It's never going to be as rewarding.
Dorothy, how come we never bond?
We're from before bonding and quality time.
She just simply had it. She didn't want to be part of an ensemble show anymore.
Dorothy, are you all right? Oh, she's a trooper. She'll be fine, won't you, Dorothy?
She had enjoyed doing Maude a great deal, and she was used to being the star of the show. I just don't feel that she felt like she had enough to get her teeth into. I think she just wanted more to do.
Her deal was up. It was a question of whether she wanted to continue or not.
Bea Arthur decided the 7th season would be her last.
She felt that she had done all that she could do with the part, and we had to respect that. I mean, she gave us so much for so long. Her brilliance, not only in terms of delivery, but in terms of reaction. She is one of the most extraordinary actresses in television history, with or without lines.
He'd put on this really long rubber glove.
When season 7 went into production, the cast and crew were dealt another blow. NBC execs decided to shuffle the network lineup on Saturday night.
We moved Golden Girls to start off the night, an appointment